What if everything you've been taught about money is backwards? This book reveals the 10 fundamental laws of money, hidden principles that separate the wealthy from the struggling, rooted not in luck or hard work, but in understanding money's true nature as a tool, not a goal. You'll discover why chasing money fails, how value creation and compound growth build empires, and why systems, not jobs, are the bedrock of freedom. These laws, time-tested and universally applicable, will rewrite your financial destiny by transforming scarcity into abundance. Ready to stop guessing and start mastering the forces that shape wealth? Let's begin. Money. It's the one subject that touches every aspect of our lives. Yet it remains one of the most misunderstood forces in our world. From the moment we're old enough to understand the concept of buying and selling, we're thrust into a financial system that operates by rules nobody ever bothered to teach us. We learn about algebra and Shakespeare, about photosynthesis and the periodic table. But somehow the fundamental principles that govern wealth creation, financial freedom, and economic success remain mysterious, almost sacred secrets passed down only within certain circles. You might have noticed that some people seem to have an almost magical relationship with money. They make it look effortless. They build wealth while others struggle to pay their bills. They create financial freedom while others remain trapped in cycles of debt and financial stress. They understand something that the rest of us don't, and that something isn't luck, genetics, or even necessarily hard work. It's knowledge, specifically. It's knowledge of the 10 fundamental laws that govern how money really works. These aren't the laws you'll find in any traditional economics textbook. These aren't the principles taught in most schools or universities. These are the unwritten rules, the hidden patterns, the secret understandings that separate the wealthy from everyone else. They're not complex mathematical formulas or insider trading secrets. They're simple, universal principles that anyone can understand and apply. But they're principles that most people never encounter because they're not taught in the places where most of us get our education. Think about it for a moment. When you were growing up, what did you learn about money? Probably the basics. Work hard. Save your pennies. Don't spend more than you earn. Maybe you learned to balance a checkbook or calculate compound interest. But did anyone ever teach you why some people can turn $1,000 into $1 million, while others can barely make their paycheck last until the next one? Did anyone explain why some individuals can create wealth from nothing, while others work their entire lives and retire with barely enough to survive? The truth is, there's a fundamental difference between how wealthy people think about money and how everyone else thinks about it. This difference isn't about intelligence or education or even opportunity. It's about understanding the true nature of money itself and the laws that govern its behavior. These laws are as real and as powerful as the laws of physics, but unlike gravity or thermodynamics, they're not taught in school. They're learned through experience, passed down through wealthy families, shared in exclusive circles, and discovered by those rare individuals who take the time to study how money really works. This book is about those laws. It's about the 10 fundamental principles that govern wealth creation, financial success, and economic freedom. It's about understanding money not as a mysterious force that controls your life, but as a predictable system that operates according to specific rules. Once you understand these rules, you can use them to your advantage. You can't stop being at the mercy of economic forces you don't understand, and start becoming the master of your own financial destiny. The first thing you need to understand is that money is not what you think it is. Most people think of money as A thing, a commodity, something with inherent value. They think of it as gold or silver or paper bills or digital numbers in a bank account. But money is not a thing at all. Money is a concept, an idea, a system of measurement and exchange. It's no more real than the concept of distance or temperature or time. It's a tool created by human beings to facilitate the exchange of value. And like any tool, it can be used well or poorly, effectively or ineffectively. The wealthy understand this distinction. They don't think of money as something they need to chase or hoard or worship. They think of it as a tool they can use to create value, solve problems, and build systems. They understand that money is infinite in its potential because value is infinite in its potential. They know that money is not a zero-sum game, where one person's gain must come at another person's expense. They understand that money can be created, multiplied, and expanded because it represents value, and value can always be created. This fundamental shift in thinking is the foundation of everything else we'll discuss in this book. Once you understand that money is not a scarce resource to be hoarded, but an infinite tool to be leveraged, everything else begins to make sense. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You begin to think about creating value rather than just earning wages. You begin to understand that financial freedom is not about having enough money to stop working, but about understanding money well enough to make it work for you. The 10 laws we'll explore in this book are not theoretical concepts. They're practical principles that have been proven over and over again by countless individuals who have used them to build wealth, create financial freedom, and achieve economic success. These laws work regardless of your current financial situation, your background, your education, or your age. They work in good economic times and bad economic times. They work in every industry, every profession, and every field of human endeavor. But here's the thing about these laws. They're not magic formulas that will instantly transform your financial situation. They're principles that must be understood, internalized, and applied consistently over time. They require a fundamental shift in how you think about money, value, and wealth creation. They require you to challenge assumptions you've held your entire life about how money works and what it means to be financially successful. The journey we're about to take together will challenge everything you thought you knew about money. We'll force you to confront uncomfortable truths about why most people struggle financially, while others seem to effortlessly create wealth. It will reveal the hidden patterns that govern financial success and the secret strategies that wealthy people use to build and maintain their wealth. Most importantly, it will give you the tools and knowledge you need to apply these laws in your own life. You'll learn not just what these laws are, but how to use them practically to improve your financial situation, build wealth, and create the kind of financial freedom that allows you to live life on your own terms. The path to financial freedom is not about getting lucky or being born into the right family or having the right connections. It's about understanding the fundamental laws that govern money and wealth creation, and then applying those laws consistently in your own life. It's about shifting from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, from thinking about earning money to thinking about creating value, from being a consumer of wealth to being a creator of wealth. As we explore each of these 10 laws, you'll begin to see patterns in your own financial life. You'll understand why certain strategies have worked for you while others have failed. You'll see why some people in your life seem to have a natural talent for making money, while others struggle despite their best efforts. You'll begin to recognize the difference between activities that create wealth and activities that merely generate income. But more than anything, you'll begin to understand that financial success is not a matter of luck or chance or circumstance. It's a matter of understanding and applying specific principles that have been proven to work over and over again throughout history. These principles are not secrets in the sense that they're hidden from view. They're secrets in the sense that they're not widely taught or understood. They're available to anyone who takes the time to learn them and the discipline to apply them. The 10 laws we'll explore are interconnected. Each one builds upon the others, creating a comprehensive framework for understanding money and wealth creation. You can't simply pick and choose which laws to follow and which to ignore. They work together as a system, and like any system, they're only as strong as their weakest component. The first law deals with the fundamental nature of money itself, and why understanding this nature is crucial to financial success. The second law explores the relationship between value creation and wealth building. The third law reveals the power of leverage and compound growth. The fourth law discusses the importance of systems and automation in wealth creation. The fifth law examines the role of risk and how wealthy people think about it differently than everyone else. Asterisk. The sixth law explores the concept of financial intelligence and why it's more important than financial knowledge. The seventh law discusses the power of networks and relationships in wealth creation. The eighth law reveals the importance of mindset and psychology in financial success. The ninth law examines the role of timing and patience in wealth building. The 10th law brings everything together by showing how wealthy people think about money as a tool for creating freedom and impact. Each law is supported by real-world examples, practical strategies, and actionable advice that you can implement immediately. You'll learn not just the theory behind each law, but the specific tactics and techniques that successful people use to apply these laws in their daily lives. You'll discover how to identify opportunities that others miss, how to create value where others see only problems, and how to build systems that generate wealth even when you're not actively working. The goal of this book is not to make you rich overnight. That's neither possible nor desirable. The goal is to give you the knowledge and tools you need to build sustainable wealth over time. It's to help you understand the difference between getting rich and being wealthy, between making money and creating value, between financial independence and financial freedom. As you read through these laws, you'll likely experience moments of recognition. Times when you realize that you've been applying some of these principles without knowing it, or times when you understand why certain financial strategies have failed you in the past. You'll also likely experience moments of resistance, times when these concepts challenge deeply held beliefs about money and wealth that you've carried with you your entire life. Both reactions are normal and healthy. The path to financial wisdom requires both recognition of truth and the courage to change long-held beliefs that no longer serve you. It requires the humility to admit that some of what you've believed about money might be wrong, and the determination to learn new ways of thinking that will serve you better. The wealthy didn't become wealthy by accident. They didn't stumble into financial success through luck or coincidence. They became wealthy by understanding and applying specific principles that govern money and wealth creation. These principles are not secret in the sense that they're hidden from view. They're secret in the sense that they're not widely taught or understood. But here's the beautiful truth. These principles are available to anyone who takes the time to learn them and the discipline to apply them. They don't require special education or connections or starting capital. They don't require you to be born into the right family, or live in the right place, or have the right opportunities. They simply require you to understand how money really works, and then apply that understanding consistently over time. The journey to financial freedom begins with a single step: the decision to learn the truth about money and wealth creation. It begins with the recognition that financial success is not a matter of luck or chance, but a matter of understanding and applying specific principles. It begins with the understanding that these principles are learnable, applicable, and available to anyone who takes the time to master them. The 10 laws you're about to learn have been tested by time, proven by results, and validated by countless individuals who have used them to transform their financial lives. They're not theoretical concepts or academic theories. They're practical principles that work in the real world, in real time, for real people. As we embark on this journey together, I want you to approach these laws with an open mind and a willingness to challenge your existing beliefs about money. I want you to consider the possibility that much of what you've been taught about money might be incomplete or incorrect. I want you to be willing to think differently about wealth creation, financial success, and what it means to be truly wealthy. The path to financial freedom is not easy, but it's simple. It's not quick, but it's predictable. It's not guaranteed, but it's achievable for anyone who understands the principles and applies them consistently. The 10 laws of money that we're about to explore are your roadmap to that freedom. They're your guide to understanding not just how to make money, but how to create lasting wealth, financial security, and the kind of freedom that allows you to live life on your own terms. So let's begin this journey together. Let's explore these 10 laws that the wealthy understand, but that most people are never taught. Let's discover how money really works, and how you can use that knowledge to create the financial future you deserve. Law 1. Money is a tool, not a goal. First and most fundamental law that separates the wealthy from everyone else is perhaps the most counterintuitive. Money is not the goal, it's the tool. This distinction might seem subtle, but it represents a profound shift in thinking that changes everything about how you approach wealth creation, financial planning, and economic success. Most people spend their entire lives chasing money. They work jobs they don't like to earn paychecks they spend on things they don't need to impress people they don't care about. They measure their success by their salary, their bank account balance, or their net worth. They believe that if they could just earn more money, all their problems would be solved. They treat money as the ultimate destination, the final goal, the thing that will bring them happiness and fulfillment. But the wealthy think about money completely differently. They don't chase money. They use money to chase their real goals. They understand that money is nothing more than a tool, like a hammer or a computer or a car. It's useful only insofar as it helps you accomplish something else. And like any tool, its value comes not from owning it, but from using it effectively. Think about it this way. A hammer sitting in your toolbox has no value until you use it to build something. A computer has no value until you use it to create something, communicate something, or solve something. A car has no value until you use it to get somewhere. Money works the same way. It has no inherent value until you use it to create value, solve problems, or achieve goals. This fundamental shift in thinking changes everything about how you approach money. Instead of asking how can I make more money, you start asking what do I want to accomplish, and how can money help me accomplish it. Instead of thinking about money as something you need to acquire, you start thinking about money as something you need to deploy. Instead of being motivated by greed or fear, you're motivated by purpose and vision. The wealthy understand this distinction instinctively. They don't work to make money. They work to solve problems, create value, and achieve goals. The money they earn is simply a byproduct of their value creation, a measurement of how effectively they've used their skills, knowledge, and resources to make the world better in some way. This is why wealthy people often seem to have an almost casual relationship with money. They don't hoard it or worship it or treat it as sacred. They treat it as a tool. And like any tool, they're constantly looking for ways to use it more effectively. They invest it. They leverage it. They put it to work creating more value. They understand that money sitting in a bank account is like a hammer sitting in a toolbox. It's not doing anyone any good. But here's where most people get confused. They think that treating money as a tool means being careless with it or not respecting its power. Nothing could be further from the truth. The wealthy have tremendous respect for money precisely because they understand its power as a tool. They understand that money, when used effectively, can accomplish incredible things. It can solve problems, create opportunities, and change lives. But they also understand that money, when used poorly, can be destructive and wasteful. This is why wealthy people are often extremely careful about how they spend money, even though they have plenty of it. They're not being cheap or stingy. They're being strategic. They understand that every dollar they spend is a dollar they can't invest or leverage, or put to work creating more value. They understand that money is finite in the short term, even though it's infinite in the long term. The distinction between money as a goal and money as a tool becomes clear when you look at how different people make financial decisions. People who treat money as a goal make decisions based on immediate gratification or emotional impulses. They buy things because they want them, not because they need them. They spend money to feel better about themselves or to impress others. They make financial decisions based on fear, greed, or status. People who treat money as a tool make decisions based on strategic thinking and long-term planning. They buy things because those things will help them accomplish something else. They spend money to create value, solve problems, or achieve goals. They make financial decisions based on logic, analysis, and purpose. Let's look at a concrete example. Imagine two people, both earning the same salary. Person A treats money as a goal. They spend their paycheck on things that make them feel good in the moment. Expensive clothes, fancy restaurants, the latest gadgets. They measure their success by how much they can spend and how luxurious their lifestyle appears to others. They live paycheck to paycheck, always wanting more money so they can buy more things. Person B treats money as a tool. They spend their paycheck on things that will help them accomplish their goals. Education, investment opportunities, business equipment, networking events. They measure their success by how effectively they're using their money to create value and build wealth. They live below their means, always looking for ways to put their money to work creating more money. Over time, the difference in outcomes between these two approaches becomes dramatic. Person A remains trapped in a cycle of earning and spending, never building any real wealth or financial security. Person B gradually builds wealth, creates financial freedom, and achieves their goals. The difference isn't in their income or their opportunities. It's in their fundamental understanding of what money is and how it should be used. This principle applies at every level of income. Whether you're earning minimum wage or millions of dollars, the fundamental question remains the same. Are you using money as a tool to accomplish your goals, or are you treating money as the goal itself? The wealthy understand that money is most powerful when it's put to work, not when it's accumulated for its own sake. This is why many wealthy people live relatively modest lifestyles compared to their net worth. They're not trying to impress anyone with their spending. They're trying to accomplish specific goals with their money. They understand that the most expensive car or the biggest house might not be the most effective tools for achieving their objectives. They choose to spend their money on things that create value, solve problems, or move them closer to their goals. But treating money as a tool doesn't mean being miserly or never enjoying the fruits of your labor. It means being intentional about how you use money and making sure that your spending aligns with your values and objectives. It means asking yourself before every purchase, how will this help me accomplish my goals? If the answer is that it won't, then you need to seriously consider whether it's worth the money. The wealthy also understand that money is a tool that becomes more powerful the more you understand how to use it. This is why they invest heavily in financial education, why they study markets and investment strategies, why they surround themselves with advisors and mentors who can help them use money more effectively. They understand that learning how to use money is just as important as earning money. This principle also explains why the wealthy are often generous with their money. They understand that money is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used to help others as well as yourself. They understand that using money to solve problems, create opportunities, and improve lives is one of the most powerful ways to use this tool. They don't give money away because they have too much of it. They give money away because they understand how powerful it can be when used for good. The shift from thinking about money as a goal to thinking about money as a tool is not just a mental exercise. It has profound practical implications for how you manage your finances, make investments, and build wealth. When you understand that money is a tool, you start asking different questions about every financial decision you make. Instead of asking, can I afford this? You ask, will this help me accomplish my goals? Instead of asking, how much money do I need? You ask, what do I want to accomplish? And how can money help me accomplish it? Instead of asking, how can I make more money? You ask, how can I create more value? And how can money help me create that value? This shift in thinking also changes how you approach career decisions, investment choices, and business opportunities. You stop looking for the highest paying job and start looking for the opportunity that will help you accomplish your goals. You stop looking for the investment with the highest return and start looking for the investment that best aligns with your objectives. You stop looking for the business opportunity that will make you the most money and start looking for the opportunity that will create the most value. Understanding money as a tool also helps you avoid many of the emotional traps that keep people financially stuck. When you treat money as a goal, you become emotionally attached to it. You feel anxious when you don't have enough, guilty when you spend it, and greedy when you want more. These emotions cloud your judgment and lead to poor financial decisions. When you treat money as a tool, you develop a healthier, more rational relationship with it. You don't feel anxious about money any more than you feel anxious about a hammer or a computer. You simply focus on using the tool effectively to accomplish your goals. This emotional detachment allows you to make better financial decisions based on logic and strategy rather than fear and impulse. The wealthy understand that money is abundant, not scarce. They know that money is constantly being created through value creation, problem solving, and innovation. They understand that the amount of money in the world is not fixed, and that one person's wealth does not come at another person's expense. This understanding allows them to focus on creating value rather than competing for existing resources. This abundance mindset is crucial to treating money as a tool. When you believe that money is scarce, you naturally want to hoard it, protect it, and accumulate it for its own sake. When you understand that money is abundant, you naturally want to use it as a tool to create more value, solve more problems, and achieve more goals. The practical application of this first law starts with examining your current relationship with money. Ask yourself, do I treat money as a goal or as a tool? Do I make financial decisions based on what will help me accomplish my objectives, or based on what will make me feel better in the moment? Do I use money to create value, or do I simply accumulate it for its own sake? If you find that you've been treating money as a goal, don't feel bad about it. That's what most people do because that's what most people are taught. But now that you understand the difference, you can start making the shift. You can start thinking about money as a tool and making financial decisions based on what will help you accomplish your real goals. The first step in this shift is to get clear about what your real goals are. What do you want to accomplish in life? What problems do you want to solve? What kind of impact do you want to have? What kind of freedom do you want to create? Once you're clear about your goals, you can start thinking about how money can help you achieve them. The second step is to start evaluating every financial decision through this lens. Before you spend money on anything, ask yourself, how will this help me accomplish my goals? If it will, then it might be a good use of money. If it won't, then you need to seriously consider whether it's worth the cost. The third step is to start looking for ways to use money to create value, solve problems, and achieve goals. This might mean investing in education, starting a business, buying equipment that will help you be more productive, or investing in opportunities that align with your objectives. The key is to start thinking about money as a tool that can be put to work, not as a prize to be won. Understanding that money is a tool, not a goal, is the foundation of all wealth creation. It's the principle that allows you to make rational financial decisions, avoid emotional traps, and use money effectively to accomplish your objectives. It's the principle that separates the wealthy from everyone else. And it's the principle that can transform your financial life if you understand it and apply it consistently. Once you make this shift, you'll start to see money differently. You'll start to see opportunities where others see expenses. You'll start to see investments where others see costs. You'll start to see tools where others see treasures. And most importantly, you'll start to see that financial success is not about having money, but about using money to accomplish the things that really matter to you. This is the first law of money that the wealthy understand, but that most people are never taught. It's the foundation upon which all other financial principles are built. And it's the key to transforming your relationship with money from one of scarcity and fear to one of abundance and purpose. Law 2. Value creation is the source of all wealth. Second law that the wealthy understand, but most people never learn, is that all wealth comes from value creation. This isn't just an abstract economic principle. It's the fundamental mechanism that drives every dollar of legitimate wealth that has ever been created. Understanding this law will revolutionize how you think about making money, building wealth, and achieving financial freedom. Most people think that wealth comes from getting paid for their time. They believe that if they work hard enough, long enough, and smart enough, they'll eventually become wealthy. They focus on getting raises, finding higher-paying jobs, or working more hours. They measure their financial progress by their hourly wage or their annual salary. They think that wealth is simply a matter of earning more money. But the wealthy understand that wealth doesn't come from trading time for money. Wealth comes from creating value for other people. The more value you create, the more wealth you can build. The better you become at creating value, the more money you can make. The more people you create value for, the richer you can become. This distinction is crucial because it explains why some people can become incredibly wealthy, while others struggle financially despite working hard their entire lives. It's not about how hard you work or how many hours you put in. It's about how much value you create and how effectively you capture that value in the form of money. Think about the wealthiest people you know, either personally or through their public profiles. What do they all have in common? They've all created enormous value for large numbers of people. They've solved problems, fulfilled needs, or made life better for millions of people. Their wealth is directly proportional to the value they've created. Take someone like Bill Gates. He became one of the wealthiest people in the world not by working harder than everyone else, but by creating software that made millions of people more productive. He solved a problem that millions of people had, and he captured a small portion of the value he created in the form of money. The value he created was worth trillions of dollars to the people who used his software. His wealth is just a fraction of the total value he created. Or consider someone like Walt Disney. He became incredibly wealthy not by working more hours than other people, but by creating entertainment that brought joy to millions of people. He built a company that created value for families all over the world. His wealth was a direct result of the value he created for others. This principle applies at every level of wealth creation. The person who starts a small business and becomes financially independent does so by creating value for their customers. The investor who becomes wealthy does so by providing capital to businesses that create value. The employee who rises to executive levels does so by creating value for their company and its stakeholders. The key insight is that you cannot create wealth without creating value. You cannot build sustainable wealth by simply trying to get money from other people. You cannot achieve financial freedom by focusing on what you can get. You can only build lasting wealth by focusing on what you can give, what problems you can solve, and what value you can create. This is why get-rich-quick schemes never work in the long term. They focus on getting money without creating value. They try to capture wealth without creating it. They attempt to extract money from the economy without adding anything to it. These approaches might work temporarily, but they're not sustainable because they're not based on value creation. The wealthy understand that value creation is not just the source of wealth. It's also the key to sustainable wealth. When you build wealth by creating value, you're building something that can last. When you build wealth by extracting value from others, you're building something that's inherently unstable and unsustainable. But what exactly is value creation? Value is anything that makes someone else's life better, easier, more enjoyable, or more fulfilling. It's solving a problem that someone has. It's fulfilling a need that someone feels. It's providing a service that someone wants. It's creating a product that someone finds useful. It's entertainment that someone enjoys. It's information that someone finds helpful. Value creation can take many forms. It can be physical products that make life easier or more enjoyable. It can be services that solve problems or save time. It can be information that helps people make better decisions. It can be entertainment that brings joy or excitement. It can be experiences that create memories or provide education. It can be systems that make other things work more efficiently. The beautiful thing about value creation is that it's not limited by your background, education, or starting capital. Anyone can create value if they're willing to focus on solving problems and fulfilling needs. The key is to identify problems that people have and then figure out how to solve them better than anyone else. This is why the wealthy are always looking for problems to solve. They see problems as opportunities to create value. They understand that every problem is a potential source of wealth if you can solve it effectively. They don't complain about problems. They look for ways to solve them and capture some of the value they create in the process. The wealthy also understand that the bigger the problem you solve, the more wealth you can create. If you solve a small problem for a small number of people, you'll create a small amount of wealth. If you solve a big problem for a large number of people, you'll create a large amount of wealth. If you solve a massive problem for millions of people, you'll create massive wealth. This is why technology companies can become so valuable so quickly. They solve problems that affect millions or billions of people. They create value at a scale that was impossible in previous generations. They leverage technology to create and distribute value more efficiently than ever before. But value creation isn't just about technology or starting companies. It applies to every aspect of work and business. The employee who creates more value for their company will earn more money than the employee who simply shows up and does the minimum. The service provider who creates more value for their clients will charge higher prices and have more customers than the service provider who does mediocre work. Understanding value creation also changes how you think about competition. Most people think about competition as fighting for limited resources or trying to take customers away from others. But the wealthy understand that competition is really about creating more value than anyone else. If you can create more value than your competitors, you'll naturally attract more customers, charge higher prices, and build more wealth. This is why the wealthy focus on improving themselves and their ability to create value, rather than trying to tear down their competitors. They understand that the best way to win in the marketplace is to create more value than anyone else. They invest in education, skills, systems, and capabilities that allow them to create more value more efficiently. The wealthy also understand that value creation is not a zero-sum game. When you create value for someone else, you're not taking value away from someone else. You're actually expanding the total amount of value in the world. This is why economies grow and why wealth creation is possible. When people create value for each other, everyone becomes better off. This understanding allows the wealthy to approach business and wealth creation from a position of abundance rather than scarcity. They don't feel like they need to take from others to build wealth. They understand that they can create wealth by creating value, and that their success doesn't come at anyone else's expense. But here's where many people get confused about value creation. They think that value creation means working for free or giving away their time and expertise without compensation. They think that focusing on creating value means not focusing on making money. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of how value creation works. Creating value and capturing value are two different things, but they're both essential to building wealth. You need to create value to have something worth capturing, but you also need to capture value to build wealth. The wealthy understand both sides of this equation. They focus on creating tremendous value, but they also make sure they capture an appropriate portion of that value in the form of money. This is why pricing is so important in business. If you create value but don't capture an appropriate portion of that value, you won't build wealth. If you try to capture more value than you create, you won't have a sustainable business. The key is to find the right balance where you're creating significant value and capturing enough of that value to build wealth. The wealthy also understand that value creation is not just about what you do, It's about how you do it. You can create more value by doing the same thing better than anyone else. You can create more value by being more efficient, more reliable, more innovative, or more customer-focused than your competitors. You can create more value by improving the quality of your work, the speed of your delivery, or the experience you provide. This is why the wealthy are always looking for ways to improve their ability to create value. They invest in education, training, and skill development. They study their customers and their markets. They look for ways to innovate and improve. They understand that their wealth is directly tied to their ability to create value. So they're constantly working to enhance that ability. Understanding value creation also helps you identify opportunities that others miss. When you're focused on creating value, you start to notice problems that other people ignore. You start to see needs that other people overlook. You start to recognize opportunities to create value that other people don't see. This is why the wealthy often seem to have a natural talent for identifying opportunities. It's not that they're luckier than everyone else. It's that they're looking for different things. While most people are looking for ways to make money, the wealthy are looking for ways to create value. This shift in focus allows them to see opportunities that others miss. The practical application of this second law starts with changing your focus from making money to creating value. Instead of asking, how can I make more money? Start asking, how can I create more value? Instead of focusing on what you can get, focus on what you can give. Instead of thinking about your income, think about your impact. The first step is to identify your unique ability to create value. What problems can you solve? What needs can you fulfill? What skills do you have that others find valuable? What knowledge do you possess that others want? What experiences have you had that others can benefit from? The key is to identify the intersection between what you're good at and what others need. The second step is to look for ways to create more value in your current situation. If you're an employee, look for ways to create more value for your company, your customers, or your colleagues. If you're a business owner, look for ways to create more value for your customers. If you're an investor, look for ways to provide capital to businesses that create value. The third step is to look for bigger problems to solve. As you become better at creating value, start looking for larger problems that affect more people. The bigger the problem you can solve, the more wealth you can create. The more people you can create value for, the richer you can become. The fourth step is to develop systems and processes that allow you to create value more efficiently. Look for ways to leverage technology, automation, or other people to create more value with less effort. The wealthy understand that building wealth is not just about creating value. It's about creating value efficiently and at scale. The fifth step is to make sure you're capturing an appropriate portion of the value you create. Don't work for free, but don't overcharge either. Find the right balance where you're creating significant value and capturing enough of that value to build wealth. This might mean raising your prices, negotiating better terms, or finding ways to monetize the value you create. Understanding that value creation is the source of all wealth will transform how you think about money, work, and business. It will help you see opportunities that others miss, solve problems that others ignore, and build wealth that others can't create. It will shift your focus from getting to giving, from earning to creating, from taking to contributing. This is the second law of money that the wealthy understand, but most people never learn. It's the principle that explains why some people can build enormous wealth, while others struggle financially despite working hard. It's the key to sustainable wealth creation and the foundation for everything else we'll discuss. In this book, Law 3, compound growth is the eighth wonder of the world. Third law that separates the wealthy from everyone else is their deep understanding of compound growth and how to harness its incredible power. Albert Einstein allegedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world, saying that those who understand it earn it, and those who don't pay it. Whether or not Einstein actually said this, the sentiment captures a fundamental truth about wealth creation that the rich understand, but most people never learn. Compound growth is not just about money earning interest. It's about any system where the results from one period become the inputs for the next period, creating exponential rather than linear growth. It's about building systems that don't just grow, but grow at an accelerating rate. It's about understanding that small differences in growth rates, when compounded over time, create massive differences in outcomes. Most people think about growth in linear terms. They think that if they can save $1,000 this year, they'll have $10,000 in 10 years. They think that if they can improve their income by 10% this year, they'll be 10% better off. They think that if they can get better at something by a little bit each day, they'll be a little bit better at the end of the year. But the wealthy understand that growth is exponential, not linear. They understand that small improvements, when compounded over time, create extraordinary results. They understand that the difference between a 7% return and a 10% return is not 3%. It's the difference between doubling your money in 10 years versus doubling it in 7 years. They understand that getting just a little bit better each day doesn't make you a little bit better. It makes you exponentially better. This understanding changes everything about how you approach wealth creation, skill development, and long-term planning. Instead of looking for big, dramatic changes, you start looking for small, consistent improvements that compound over time. Instead of trying to hit home runs, you focus on getting on base consistently. Instead of looking for overnight success, you focus on building systems that improve incrementally but consistently. The power of compound growth is most obvious in financial investing. When you invest money and reinvest the returns, your money grows exponentially rather than linearly. The money you make earns money, which earns money, which earns money over time. This creates a snowball effect where your wealth grows faster and faster. Consider the difference between saving money and investing money. If you save $1,000 a year for 30 years, you'll have $30,000. But if you invest that same $1,000 a year at a 10% return, you'll have over $160,000. The difference is compound growth. The money you invested in the early years has been earning returns for decades, and those returns have been earning returns of their own. This is why the wealthy focus so much on investing and why they start investing as early as possible. They understand that time is the most important factor in compound growth. The earlier you start, the more time your money has to compound, and the more wealth you can create. They understand that $1 invested today is worth much more than $1 invested tomorrow. But compound growth applies to much more than just financial investments. It applies to skills, relationships, businesses, and any system where the results from one period become the inputs for the next period. Understanding this broader application of compound growth is what separates the wealthy from everyone else. In skill development, compound growth means that the skills you learn today make it easier to learn new skills tomorrow. Each new skill you acquire expands your ability to acquire even more skills. Each new level of expertise you achieve makes the next level more accessible. This is why the wealthy are constantly learning and growing. They understand that education and skill development compound over time. In relationships, compound growth means that the trust and rapport you build today makes it easier to build more trust and rapport tomorrow. Each relationship you develop can lead to more relationships. Each person you help can help you help more people. This is why the wealthy focus so much on building networks and maintaining relations. They understand that relationships compound over time. In business, compound growth means that the systems you build today make it easier to build better systems tomorrow. Each customer you serve well can lead to more customers. Each improvement you make to your product or service makes the next improvement easier. Each problem you solve makes you better at solving the next problem. This is why the wealthy focus on building businesses rather than just earning income. The wealthy also understand that compound growth works in reverse. Just as positive behaviors compound to create positive results, negative behaviors compound to create negative results. Just as small improvements compound to create extraordinary success, small deteriorations compound to create devastating failure. This is why the wealthy are so careful about their habits, their choices, and their systems. Debt is a perfect example of negative compound growth. When you borrow money, you don't just pay back the principal. You pay interest on the interest. Over time, this creates a snowball effect where your debt grows faster and faster. This is why the wealthy avoid high-interest debt and why they pay off debt as quickly as possible. They understand that debt compounds against you. Bad habits also compound over time. Eating poorly doesn't just affect your health today, it affects your health tomorrow, which affects your energy, which affects your productivity, which affects your income, which affects your ability to build wealth. Procrastination doesn't just delay one task. It creates a pattern of delay that compounds over time. This is why the wealthy are so disciplined about their habits and routines. The key to harnessing compound growth is to identify the systems in your life that have the potential to compound and then optimize those systems for exponential rather than linear growth. This requires thinking differently about how you approach work, learning, relationships, and money. In your career, instead of just focusing on your current job, focus on building skills and experiences that will compound over time. Instead of just trying to get promoted, try to develop expertise that will make you more valuable in the future. Instead of just earning more money, try to build systems that will allow you to earn more money with less effort over time. In your education, instead of just learning what you need to know for your current situation, focus on learning things that will help you learn more things. Instead of just acquiring information, focus on developing the ability to think, analyze, and solve problems. Instead of just getting credentials, focus on building capabilities that will compound over time. In your relationships, instead of just networking for immediate benefits, focus on building genuine relationships that will grow stronger over time. Instead of just trying to get help from others, focus on helping others in ways that will compound. Instead of just meeting new people, focus on deepening existing relationships. In your finances, instead of just saving money, focus on investing money in ways that will compound over time. Instead of just earning more income, focus on building assets that will generate income. Instead of just cutting expenses, focus on building systems that will reduce expenses automatically. The wealthy understand that compound growth requires patience and persistence. The benefits of compound growth are not immediately visible. In fact, Compound growth often looks slow and ineffective in the early stages. It's only over time that the exponential nature of compound growth becomes apparent. This is why many people give up on strategies that would have made them wealthy if they had just stuck with them longer. This patience and persistence is what separates the wealthy from everyone else. Most people want immediate results. They want to see progress right away. They want to get rich quick. But the wealthy understand that true wealth is built slowly and steadily through the power of compound growth. They're willing to delay gratification today for much greater rewards tomorrow. The wealthy also understand that compound growth is not automatic. It requires consistent effort and smart choices. You can't just invest money and expect it to compound indefinitely. You need to make smart investment choices, reinvest your returns, and adjust your strategy as conditions change. You can't just develop skills and expect them to compound automatically. You need to continuously learn, practice, and apply what you learn. This is why the wealthy are so disciplined about their systems and routines. They understand that compound growth requires consistency. They understand that small actions, repeated consistently over time, create extraordinary results. They understand that the key to wealth creation is not dramatic actions, but consistent actions that compound over time. The practical application of this third law starts with identifying the areas of your life where compound growth is possible and then optimizing those areas for exponential growth. This requires a shift from short-term thinking to long-term thinking, from linear thinking to exponential thinking, from immediate gratification to delayed gratification. The first step is to identify your compound growth opportunities. Where in your life can small improvements compound over time? What skills could you develop that would make you more capable of developing other skills? What relationships could you build that would help you build more relationships? What investments could you make that would generate returns that you could reinvest? The second step is to create systems that support compound growth. This might mean setting up automatic investments, creating learning routines, establishing relationship-building habits, or developing business systems that improve over time. The key is to create systems that don't just produce results, but produce results that can be reinvested to produce even better results. The third step is to be patient and persistent. Compound growth takes time to become apparent. Don't expect immediate results. Don't get discouraged if progress seems slow at first. Trust the process and stay consistent with your actions. The wealthy understand that compound growth is a marathon, not a sprint. The fourth step is to continuously optimize your systems. As you gain experience and see results, look for ways to improve your systems and accelerate your compound growth. This might mean adjusting your investment strategy, improving your learning methods, or refining your business processes. The key is to continuously improve while maintaining consistency. The fifth step is to avoid negative compound growth. Identify the areas of your life where negative behaviors or choices are compounding against you and eliminate them. This might mean paying off high-interest debt, eliminating bad habits, or fixing broken systems. The wealthy understand that avoiding negative compound growth is just as important as creating positive compound growth. Understanding compound growth will transform how you think about time, effort, and results. It will help you see the long-term value of short-term sacrifices. It will help you understand why small improvements matter more than dramatic changes. It will help you build wealth slowly and steadily rather than trying to get rich quick. This is the third law of money that the wealthy understand, but most people never learn. It's the principle that explains why some people can build enormous wealth, starting with very little, while others struggle financially despite earning good incomes. It's the key to building sustainable wealth and the foundation for long-term financial success. Law 4. Systems create wealth. Jobs create income. The fourth law that the wealthy understand fundamentally changes how you think about work, income, and wealth creation. Most people focus on jobs and income, but the wealthy focus on systems and assets. This distinction is crucial because it explains why some people can build lasting wealth, while others remain financially dependent on their jobs for their entire lives. A job is trading your time for money. When you work, you get paid. When you stop working, you stop getting paid. Your income is directly tied to your time and effort. You can only earn money when you're actively working, and you can only work so many hours in a day. This creates a ceiling on your income that's determined by how much time you have and how much you can charge for that time. A system is a set of interconnected components that work together to produce results without requiring your constant attention. A system can generate income, create value, and build wealth even when you're not actively working. A system can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without getting tired, without asking for raises, and without taking vacations. The wealthy understand this distinction and focus their efforts on building systems. Rather than just working jobs, they understand that jobs create income, but systems create wealth. They understand that trading time for money is a losing proposition because time is limited. But systems have unlimited potential. This doesn't mean that the wealthy don't work or that they don't have jobs. Many wealthy people work very hard and hold important positions, but they approach work differently. They use their jobs to build systems. They use their income to create assets. They use their positions to develop capabilities that will allow them to build wealth beyond what they can earn through their labor alone. Think about the difference between a doctor who works in a hospital and a doctor who owns a medical practice. The hospital doctor trades time for money. They earn a good income, but their wealth is limited by how many hours they can work and how much they can charge per hour. The doctor who owns a practice has built a system. They still work, but they also have other doctors working for them. Systems for managing patients and assets that generate income even when they're not working. Or consider the difference between a real estate agent who sells houses and a real estate agent who builds a team of agents. The individual agent trades time for money. They can only sell so many houses, and they can only work so many hours. The agent who builds a team has created a system. They still work, but they also have other agents working for them, systems, for generating leads and assets that generate income from other people's efforts. The key insight is that systems leverage your time, effort, and expertise in ways that jobs cannot. When you work a job, you can only create value during the hours you're working. When you build a system, you can create value around the clock. When you work a job, you can only apply your skills to the tasks you're personally working on. When you build a system, you can apply your skills to multiple tasks simultaneously. This leverage is what allows the wealthy to build wealth faster than people who rely solely on their jobs. They understand that there are only 24 hours in a day, and that no matter how hard they work or how much they charge, there's a limit to how much they can earn through their personal efforts alone. But there's no limit to how much they can earn through systems that leverage their efforts. The wealthy also understand that systems are assets, while jobs are liabilities. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. A system that generates income is an asset. A job that requires your time and effort is a liability, even if it pays well. This is why the wealthy focus on building assets rather than just earning income. They understand that assets can generate income indefinitely, while jobs can only generate income as long as you're able and willing to work. They understand that assets appreciate in value over time, while the value of your labor depreciates as you age. But building systems is not just about creating passive income. It's about creating leverage, scalability, and sustainability. When you build a system, you're not just creating a way to make money without working. You're creating a way to amplify your efforts, scale your impact, and build something that can last beyond your personal involvement. Systems also provide security in ways that jobs cannot. When you have a job, you're dependent on your employer for your income. If you lose your job, you lose your income. When you have systems, you're not dependent on any single source of income. If one system fails, you have others to rely on. This diversification creates financial security that's impossible to achieve through employment alone. The wealthy understand that there are many different types of systems they can build. Business systems create products or services that generate income. Investment systems create returns from financial assets. Information systems create value through knowledge and expertise. Network systems create value through relationships and connections. Each type of system has different characteristics and requirements, but they all share the common feature of generating results without requiring constant personal attention. Business systems are the most obvious example of wealth-creating systems. When you start a business, you're creating a system that can generate income independent of your personal efforts. The business has employees, processes, customers, and assets that work together to create value and generate profits. As the business grows, it can generate more income with less personal involvement from you. Investment systems are another powerful way to build wealth. When you invest money in stocks, bonds, real estate, or other assets, you're creating a system that generates returns without requiring your active involvement. The assets appreciate in value and generate income through dividends, interest, rent, or capital gains. Over time, these returns can compound to create significant wealth. Information systems leverage your knowledge and expertise to create value for others. This might involve creating online courses, writing books, developing software, or providing consulting services. Once you've created the information product or system, it can generate income repeatedly without requiring additional effort from you. Network systems leverage your relationships and connections to create value. This might involve building affiliate marketing systems, creating referral programs, or developing partnerships with other businesses. Your network becomes a system that generates opportunities, income, and wealth over time. The key to building effective systems is to focus on creating value for others. A system that doesn't create value for others is not sustainable. A system that creates value for others can generate income indefinitely. This is why the wealthy focus on solving problems, fulfilling needs, and making life better for other people through their systems. Building systems also requires different skills than working jobs. Jobs require technical skills, knowledge, and expertise in specific areas. Systems require leadership skills, strategic thinking, and the ability to coordinate multiple components. This is why the wealthy invest heavily in developing these system-building skills. The wealthy also understand that building systems takes time and requires patience. Unlike jobs, which provide immediate income, systems often require significant upfront investment with delayed returns. You might spend months or years building a system before it starts generating significant income. But once it's established, it can generate income for decades. This long-term perspective is what separates the wealthy from everyone else. Most people want immediate results. They want to be paid for their work right away. They're not willing to invest time and effort in building systems that might not pay off for years. But the wealthy understand that the long-term benefits of systems far outweigh the short-term costs. The wealthy also understand that systems require maintenance and improvement. A system is not something you build once and forget about. It's something you must continuously monitor, maintain, and improve. This requires ongoing attention and investment, but it's much less intensive than the constant effort required by jobs. The practical application of this fourth law starts with shifting your focus from earning income to building systems. Instead of just trying to get a better job or earn more money, start thinking about how you can build systems that generate income. Instead of just trading your time for money, start thinking about how you can leverage your time to create lasting value. The first step is to identify opportunities to build systems in your current situation. How can you use your job to develop system building skills? How can you use your income to invest in assets? How can you use your expertise to create information products? How can you use your relationships to build networks? The key is to start building systems while you still have the security of a job. The second step is to start small and build gradually. You don't need to quit your job and start a business tomorrow. You can't start building systems on the side, in your spare time, with small investments. The key is to start building systems that can eventually replace or supplement your job income. The third step is to focus on creating value for others. Whatever system you build, make sure it solves a real problem or fulfills a real need. The more value your system creates, the more income it can generate. The more people your system helps, the more wealth it can create. The fourth step is to invest in learning system building skills. This might mean taking courses on business, investing, marketing, or leadership. It might mean reading books, attending seminars, or finding mentors who can teach you how to build systems. The wealthy understand that investing in education is one of the best investments you can make. The fifth step is to be patient and persistent. Building systems takes time and requires patience. Don't expect immediate results. Don't get discouraged if progress seems slow at first. Trust the process and stay consistent with your efforts. The wealthy understand that building systems is a long-term strategy that requires long-term thinking. Understanding that systems create wealth while jobs create income will transform how you think about work, money, and financial freedom. It will help you see opportunities to build wealth that you never noticed before. It will help you understand why some people can become wealthy while others remain financially dependent on their jobs. This is the fourth law of money that the wealthy understand but most people never learn. It's the principle that explains why some people can build financial freedom while others remain trapped in jobs for their entire lives. It's the key to creating sustainable wealth and the foundation for true financial independence. Law 5. Risk and reward are not what you think they are. Fifth law that the wealthy understand completely revolutionizes how you think about risk, safety, and reward. Most people have a backwards understanding of risk that keeps them poor and financially insecure. They think that avoiding risk keeps them safe. But the wealthy understand that avoiding risk is actually the riskiest thing you can do. Most people think that risk means the possibility of losing money. They think that safe investments are those that guarantee returns, and risky investments are those that might lose money. They think that jobs are safe and businesses are risky. They think that saving money is safe and investing money is risky. They think that following conventional wisdom is safe and challenging it is risky. But the wealthy understand that risk is not about the possibility of losing money. Risk is about the possibility of not achieving your goals. Risk is about the possibility of running out of money. Risk is about the possibility of not having enough financial resources to live the life you want. Risk is about the possibility of being financially dependent on others for your entire life. From this perspective, the things that most people think are safe are actually incredibly risky. Having a job is risky because you're dependent on your employer for your income. Saving money in a bank account is risky because inflation erodes your purchasing power over time. Following conventional wisdom is risky because conventional wisdom is designed to keep you average, not to help you build. Wealth taught the wealthy understand that what most people call safe investments are actually guaranteed to lose money over time. If you keep your money in a savings account earning 2% interest, while inflation is 3%, you're guaranteed to lose purchasing power every year. If you rely on a job for your income, you're guaranteed to be financially dependent on others for your entire life. The wealthy also understand that what most people call risky investments are actually the safest way to build wealth over time. Stocks, real estate, and businesses have historically provided the best protection against inflation and the best opportunity for building wealth. Yes, they can lose money in the short term, but they're the most reliable way to build wealth in the long term. This understanding changes everything about how you approach financial planning, investment decisions, and wealth building. Instead of trying to avoid risk, you start trying to take intelligent risks. Instead of seeking safety, you start seeking opportunity. Instead of trying to protect what you have, you start trying to build what you want. The wealthy understand that there are different types of risk, and that some risks are worth taking while others are not. They understand the difference between intelligent risk and reckless risk. They understand the difference between calculated risk and gambling. They understand the difference between risk that can be managed and risk that cannot be controlled. Intelligent risk is risk that you take after careful analysis and preparation. It's risk that you understand and can manage. It's risk that has the potential for significant rewards. It's risk that, even if it doesn't work out, won't destroy you financially. Intelligent risk is the foundation of wealth building. Reckless risk is risk that you take without proper analysis or preparation. It's risk that you don't understand and can't control. It's risk that has the potential for catastrophic losses. It's risk that, if it doesn't work out, could destroy you financially. Reckless risk is the enemy of wealth building. The wealthy are not reckless risk takers. They're intelligent risk takers. They take calculated risks after careful analysis and preparation. They understand the potential rewards and the potential losses. They have plans for managing the risks they take. They never bet everything on a single outcome. The wealthy also understand that risk and reward are related, but they're not directly correlated. Higher risk does not always mean higher reward. Sometimes the highest rewards come from the lowest risks. Sometimes the highest risks offer the lowest rewards. The key is to find opportunities where the potential rewards are much higher than the potential risks. This is why the wealthy spend so much time studying opportunities and analyzing risks. They're not looking for the highest risk investments. They're looking for the highest reward investments with manageable risks. They're not trying to gamble. They're trying to find asymmetric opportunities, where the potential upside is much greater than the potential downside. The wealthy also understand that diversification is the key to managing risk. They don't put all their money in one investment or all their time in one opportunity. They spread their risks across multiple investments, multiple income sources, and multiple strategies. This diversification allows them to take intelligent risks without exposing themselves to catastrophic losses. But diversification is not just about spreading your money across different investments. It's about spreading your risks across different types of assets, different time horizons, and different strategies. The wealthy might have some money in stocks, some in real estate, some in businesses, and some in other assets. They might have some investments that are designed for growth, some for income, and some for preservation of capital. The wealthy also understand that time is one of the most important factors in managing risk. Many investments that are risky in the short term are safe in the long term. Stocks can be volatile from year to year, but they've consistently provided positive returns over decades. Real estate can fluctuate in value over short periods, but it has historically appreciated over long periods. This long-term perspective allows the wealthy to take risks that others can't take. They can invest in assets that might lose money in the short term because they know that those assets are likely to provide positive returns over the long term. They can weather short-term volatility because they're focused on long-term results. The wealthy also understand that the biggest risk is not taking any risk at all. If you don't take risks, you can't build wealth. If you don't invest, you can't grow your money. If you don't start a business, you can't create financial independence. If you don't challenge conventional wisdom, you can't achieve extraordinary results. This is why the wealthy are always looking for new opportunities and new ways to build wealth. They understand that standing still is moving backwards. They understand that not taking risks is the riskiest thing you can do. They understand that the only way to achieve financial freedom is to take intelligent risks consistently over time. The wealthy also understand that risk is not just about money. There's also career risk, health risk, relationship risk, and opportunity risk. The person who never changes jobs might think they're being safe, but they're actually taking huge career risks. The person who never invests in their health might think they're saving money, but they're actually taking huge health risks. The person who never takes opportunities might think they're being prudent, but they're actually taking huge opportunity risks. Understanding risk from this broader perspective helps you make better decisions about all aspects of your life. It helps you see that the things you think are keeping you safe might actually be putting you at risk. It helps you understand that the things you think are risky might actually be the safest things you can do. The practical application of this fifth law starts with changing your understanding of risk and safety. Instead of trying to avoid all risk, start trying to take intelligent risks. Instead of seeking safety, start seeking opportunity. Instead of trying to protect what you have, start trying to build what you want. The first step is to identify the risks you're currently taking without realizing it. Are you dependent on a single source of income? Are you keeping all your money in low-yield savings accounts? Are you following conventional wisdom without questioning it? These might seem safe, but they're actually very risky from a wealth-building perspective. The second step is to start taking intelligent risks. This might mean investing in stocks, starting a side business, developing new skills, or exploring new opportunities. The key is to take risks that you understand and can manage. Risks that have the potential for significant rewards, and risks that won't destroy you if they don't work out. The third step is to diversify your risks. Don't put all your money in one investment or all your time in one opportunity. Spread your risks across multiple investments, multiple income sources, and multiple strategies. This diversification will allow you to take intelligent risks without exposing yourself to catastrophic losses. The fourth step is to develop a long-term perspective. Many investments that are risky in the short term are safe in the long term. Many strategies that seem risky today will seem obvious in hindsight. Don't let short-term volatility prevent you from taking long-term intelligent risks. The fifth step is to continuously educate yourself about risk and reward. The more you understand about investing, business, and wealth building, the better you will be able to identify intelligent risks and avoid reckless risks. The wealthy understand that education is the best risk management tool available. Understanding that risk and reward are not what you think they are will transform how you approach money, investing, and wealth building. It will help you see opportunities that others miss and avoid the false security that keeps most people poor. It will help you understand that the path to wealth requires taking intelligent risks, not avoiding all risks. This is the fifth law of money that the wealthy understand, but most people never learn. It's the principle that explains why some people can build wealth, while others remain financially insecure despite trying to play it safe. It's the key to understanding that true financial security comes not from avoiding risk, but from taking intelligent risks consistently over time. Law 6. Financial intelligence beats financial knowledge. Its sixth law that the wealthy understand is the crucial difference between financial knowledge and financial intelligence. Most people focus on accumulating financial knowledge, but the wealthy focus on developing financial intelligence. This distinction is fundamental to understanding why some people can build wealth, while others struggle financially despite having access to the same information. Financial knowledge is information about money, investing, and wealth building. It's knowing that compound interest is powerful, that you should buy low and sell high, that diversification reduces risk, that you should spend less than you earn. Financial knowledge is facts, figures, formulas, and strategies that you can learn from books, courses, and experts. Financial intelligence is the ability to apply financial knowledge effectively in real-world situations. It's knowing when to buy and when to sell, how to analyze opportunities, how to manage risk, how to adapt to changing conditions. Financial intelligence is wisdom, judgment, intuition, and practical skill that you develop through experience and application. The difference between financial knowledge and financial intelligence is like the difference between knowing the rules of chess and being able to play chess well. You can memorize all the rules, study all the strategies, and read all the books. But if you can't apply that knowledge effectively in actual games, you won't be a good chess player. Similarly, you can learn all the financial facts and strategies, but if you can't apply that knowledge effectively in real-world situations, you won't be successful with money. Most people think that financial success is about having the right information. They think that if they just read enough books, take enough courses, or get enough advice, they'll be able to build wealth. They focus on accumulating financial knowledge, believing that more information will lead to better results. But the wealthy understand that information is not the limiting factor in financial success. In today's world, financial information is abundant and easily accessible. You can learn about investing, business, and wealth building from countless books, websites, courses, and experts. The problem is not lack of information. The problem is lack of ability to apply that information effectively. This is why two people can have access to the same financial information and achieve completely different results. One person might read about investing and lose money in the stock market. Another person might read the same information and build wealth through investing. The difference is not in the information they have, it's in their ability to apply that information intelligently. Financial intelligence includes several key components that financial knowledge alone cannot provide. It includes the ability to analyze opportunities and identify which ones are worth pursuing. It includes the ability to manage risk and avoid costly mistakes. It includes the ability to adapt to changing conditions and adjust strategies accordingly. It includes the ability to recognize patterns and trends that others miss. Financial intelligence also includes emotional intelligence about money. This means understanding your own psychological relationship with money, recognizing when emotions are affecting your financial decisions, and being able to make rational decisions, even when you're feeling fear, greed, or other strong emotions. Most financial mistakes are not caused by lack of knowledge. They're caused by emotional reactions that override logical thinking. The wealthy understand that developing financial intelligence is more important than accumulating financial knowledge. They focus on gaining real-world experience, learning from their mistakes, and developing their judgment and intuition. They understand that financial intelligence can only be developed through practice, not through study alone. This is why the wealthy often start investing or starting businesses before they feel completely ready. They understand that they'll learn more from one real investment or business venture than from reading 10 books about investing or business. They understand that financial intelligence is developed through action, not through analysis. The wealthy also understand that financial intelligence is contextual. What works in one situation might not work in another. What worked in the past might not work in the future. What works for one person might not work for another. Financial intelligence is the ability to adapt your knowledge to your specific situation and circumstances. This adaptability is crucial because the financial world is constantly changing. New opportunities emerge. Old strategies become obsolete. Market conditions shift, and economic circumstances evolve. People with financial knowledge might continue to apply outdated strategies. People with financial intelligence adapt their approaches to current conditions. Financial intelligence also includes the ability to learn from failure. The wealthy understand that mistakes and failures are inevitable parts of the wealth building process. They don't try to avoid failure. They try to learn from it. They understand that each failure teaches them something valuable that can help them make better decisions in the future. This is why the wealthy often have stories about investments that went wrong, businesses that failed, or strategies that didn't work. They don't hide these failures. They learn from them. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone to success. People with financial intelligence use failure as education. People with only financial knowledge are often paralyzed by the fear of failure. The wealthy also understand that financial intelligence includes the ability to think independently. They don't just follow conventional wisdom or do what everyone else is doing. They think for themselves, analyze situations independently, and make decisions based on their own judgment. They understand that following the crowd often leads to average results at best. This independent thinking is crucial because the majority of people make poor financial decisions. If you do what everyone else is doing, you'll get the same results that everyone else gets. If you want extraordinary results, you need to think differently than everyone else. Financial intelligence includes the ability to think contrarily when appropriate. Financial intelligence also includes the ability to see opportunities that others miss. The wealthy don't just wait for obvious opportunities. They create opportunities and recognize opportunities that others overlook. They understand that the best opportunities are often hidden in plain sight, disguised as problems or challenges. This opportunity recognition is a skill that can be developed through experience and practice. The more you expose yourself to different situations and challenges, the better you become at spotting opportunities. The more you practice analyzing situations from different perspectives, the better you become at seeing possibilities that others miss. The wealthy also understand that financial intelligence includes the ability to execute effectively. It's not enough to recognize opportunities. You also need to be able to act on them efficiently and effectively. Execution requires planning, organization, persistence, and the ability to overcome obstacles and setbacks. Many people can identify good opportunities, but few can execute on them successfully. Execution is where financial intelligence really matters. It's the ability to turn ideas into reality, to navigate challenges and setbacks, to stay focused on long-term goals while handling short-term problems. Financial intelligence also includes the ability to build and manage systems. The wealthy understand that sustainable wealth is built through systems, not through individual transactions. They develop the ability to create systems that generate income, build wealth, and create value over time. Building systems requires a different kind of intelligence than making individual financial decisions. It requires the ability to see the big picture, to understand how different components work together, to anticipate problems and build solutions, to create processes that can operate efficiently over time.